You're listening to Entrepreneur Encounter, the podcast where soft skills meet real talk for creative business owners who are building with purpose. I'm Dana, a Pinterest marketing strategist and agency owner helping wedding pros and creative entrepreneurs get seen without burning out.
And I'm Sarah, a business and team strategist who helps small teams and podcasters communicate clearly, lead with empathy, and grow sustainably. Together, we're unpacking the messy, meaningful side of entrepreneurship, from boundaries to burnout, leadership to listening, so you can build a business that actually fits your life. You just got work back from your virtual assistant or somebody that you've hired on to take on a task for you. And that's why you hired somebody, so that you can delegate out. So you got that work back, and now you're looking at it and thinking, it's not the way that it was supposed to be. It's okay, but I need to fix it. You tell yourself that it's faster. It's not a big deal. You don't want to be that client. You don't want to be that boss or that person who makes things awkward. So you say nothing, or say something that's wrapped up in some type of cushion. No worries. This is great. Just one tiny thing. That actual point never lands. Then it happens again next week and the week after. And that just gets overwhelming for you, for the person that you've hired. But that's not how it's supposed to be. Feedback. Feedback is what is going to actually change what happens next. This is actually one of the hardest soft skills to execute. Not because we don't know what to say, but because saying it honestly means that you're being a little exposed. Because sometimes saying out loud the wrong thing or what's not right and what you delegated out, you almost feel like the bad guy. And that's what we're talking about today. Why soft, vague, conflict-avoidant feedback is quietly costing you better work, better relationships, and a business you can actually trust to run without you micromanaging everything. If you work with contractors, virtual assistants, maybe you even have a co-host or anyone else that is working with you that depends on you, and you've ever rewritten something yourself instead of just saying what you meant, I want you to keep listening. We're covering 3 things today. Why we avoid direct feedback in the first place, what it's actually costing us, and a framework you can use starting today. Why do we avoid feedback? Why do we avoid giving the feedback? It's not that I don't have time. It's fear of conflict. I get it. I don't like conflict myself. You don't want to show that you're the bad person. You're thinking, well, if I give feedback, this person's not going to like me. Or you might feel that you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. It's just like this never-ending cycle. But really, you're trying to avoid that discomfort. Because when you give that feedback, when it's, I would say, constructive criticism, depending on who you talk to, they might take it the wrong way. I've been there. I've been given feedback over my, adult life and careers, and I used to take it so personal. I thought I just made this huge mistake, but it's not. You have to provide feedback, and you have to be able to receive feedback in a way that's not going to cause conflict. Yes, it is going to be difficult. This is why you got to practice. You can practice with your trusted network. You can practice with your spouse, practice with your kids even, whomever that you feel trust in with. Practicing, receiving, and giving feedback is going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you build those relationships. It's going to build your confidence even to be able to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I want fixed. If you're having trouble, come to me and ask me. That's what we want. We don't want the conflict, because I've seen it happen where people give feedback and the other person gets defended, and then it becomes this whole thing. It feels like you're being noble because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but really you're just trying to avoid that discomfort. Vague feedback is not kind. It just feels safer for you. For them, it's actually more confusing because now they don't know what good looks like, and they'll keep guessing wrong. So let's get specific about the cost, because it's uncomfortable is going to undersell it. Let's look at the costs. Cost 1, you end up doing the work twice, once for them and once to fix it yourself. The cost too is resentment starts to build. You start avoiding delegating altogether because it's just easier for you to do it. I've heard this time and time again where, well, it's just easier for me to just take over. But you've hired somebody because you need help in your business. You need help to do a task because you have other things going on, but you have to be able to be willing to sit back and think about the feedback that you want to give to that person and then take the time to actually give that feedback. And the cost 3, the other person's never going to get better. They're not going to know. You're not protecting them by staying vague. You're keeping them stuck and keeping yourself stuck with them. And going back to the never-ending cycle, you hire somebody, contractor, an employee, doesn't matter the person that you hire. If they're not doing what they're supposed to, what happened before you hired them? Did you create, a standard operating procedure to show them what is done? Did you give that to them? And if you did, what is going on to why they're not able to do the task and they're not understanding that? You need to sit down with them and figure that out. And in client-facing business, this shows up in scope creep, missed expectations, and relationships that quietly end instead of improve. It sucks having conversations that you don't want to have. But if you don't have those conversations, you never know what's going to happen. You probably assume, you think, well, if I say this to this person, they're just going to leave. That's not necessarily the case. You have to be willing to put your foot down and say, hey, this is not done correctly. I want it to be done this way. If you have questions, please reach out to me and say, hey, I don't understand this part of the task. I don't understand this concept. I don't understand the brand voice of this blog. Whatever it is, you have to be willing to give the feedback and allow the person that's doing the work to come to you and trust you so that they're able to actually succeed in the role that you hired them for. Feedback isn't hard because we haven't practiced it enough. It's hard because it requires self-awareness, knowing why you're uncomfortable, because direct feedback can be met with defensiveness or silence or someone just not liking you for a minute. We are all adults. I would assume that we can have an actual conversation. But again, that's assuming, and not everybody is going to like that moment, and they're not going to like you probably in that moment, and that is okay because there's a lot of frustration going on, and there could be butting heads, and then obviously that can blow up into conflict. I've seen people yell at each other because they can't sit down and actually have a conversation. And then down the line, you might wonder, why is the person that I just hired leaving? Why is my contractor suddenly not wanting to be here? You have to think about those situations, even if it never happens. You have to have something set in place in your business to where if something were to happen, conflict, how would you want to proceed with the feedback? That needs to be built into your business before you hire somebody. That's what I believe. Everybody does their business differently, and that's fine. But I believe that, you have to have a protocol for everything that's in your business. So if X, Y, and Z happens, how are you going to handle it? You can pretend and have scenarios. You can even role play with people that you know so that you're able to practice that feedback. We've talked about this before with communication and active listening. All these skills that we talk about are doable. You're not changing who you are, but you need to kind of figure out some things like self-awareness and be able to give that feedback. So before we get into the framework, here's a little self-check-in. When you are avoiding feedback, what are you actually afraid will happen? Are you afraid that conflict will happen? Are you afraid that being disliked is going to happen? Are you afraid that they're going to quit? You want to name that, and then this is going to change how you show up. So let's get into the framework. Okay, so here are 4 parts. 1, you want to be specific, not general. Don't just say this needs work. You want to say this doesn't match the tone we usually use. Can we make it more conversational? You have to be specific. 2, you want to focus on the behavior or the work, not the person. So instead of saying you say, well, this section needs to be reworked, not you need to change this. Say it when it happens. Don't provide feedback 3 weeks down the line when everything is it's already done. So say it close when it happened. Feedback that's 3 weeks old has lost all of its usefulness, and it starts to feel like an ambush. Like, why are you coming to me and having this conversation right now when this happened like 3 weeks ago? It needs to happen as soon as possible. 4, you want to pair it with care. There's a difference between, no worries, this is great, just one tiny thing, which is going to bury the point. Say, I want this to be great, so let's fix this one thing together. So you can show them like, hey, like, I love what you're doing. This part just needs to be changed. And I'm going to walk you through it and why it needs to be changed and give the context, give them clarity. So if you've been softening feedback into nothing this week, try saying the actual thing, specific, close to the moment, focused on the work, and paired with care. And if you're realizing this pattern shows up anywhere in your business, not just with feedback, this is why we have the 20-minute clarity map, so that you can name it and work it out. It's totally free. It takes 20 minutes. And if you have a team, you can do it with your team as well. And that link, you can find that down in the show notes. Until next time. You can now follow us on LinkedIn at Entrepreneur Encounter.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective, share it with a friend or send us a DM. We love hearing how these conversations land with you.
And if you're curious about how soft skills can support your next season of growth, we each have more resources to share.
You can find Dana on Instagram at danas.desk.nc for Pinterest strategy and intentional marketing.
And Sarah at URembert for team development, business leadership, and podcast support.
Until next time, keep leading with purpose
and growing with intention.